Hi everyone, my name is Frank Westphal, and in this video I'm going to show you how to build a Linux Ubuntu virtual machine using Hyper-V on Windows 11 or Windows 10. Very quickly, I want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to my channel, and if you find this helpful, please make sure to subscribe and hit the like button for videos like this. Alright, let's get into this. Ubuntu is a free open source Linux operating system. And being able to build virtual machines of different operating systems is really useful for learning and for testing and for even offloading different tasks. These are the minimum system requirements to be able to do this. You need Windows 10 or Windows 11 professional version of the operating system. You cannot use Hyper-V on the home versions of the operating system because the feature is unavailable to the home versions. You need at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. The reason for that is that Windows 10 and Windows 11 require at least 4 gigabytes of RAM to run by themselves, and Ubuntu Desktop, the latest version, also requires 4 gigabytes of RAM. You need a dual-core or above processor. Pretty much any processor beyond 2010 is going to be able to run virtual machines. You have to have virtualization support for your processor turned on in your system BIOS if it isn't already. And then you also need at least 128 gigabytes on a solid state drive. Technically you could do it on a mechanical drive, but it's just going to be really slow. And your virtual machine, you're going to want to do like at least 20 or 30 or 40 gigabytes for the virtual hard drive. And a Windows operating system requires about 35 gigs to start with. So just 128 or above, and you'll be able to do at least the bare minimum with having a virtual machine or maybe even 2 virtual machines running on your computer. So those are the system requirements. The first thing we have to do after that to get started on this is go download a copy of Ubuntu Desktop. This is the latest version, Ubuntu 25.10, and we want the Intel or AMD 64-bit architecture. Started that download. You can see it's happening up here. And to save time, I already downloaded this file. This is an ISO file, and it's 5.3 gigabytes. That's going to take a little bit, but once you have the file, the next thing is to minimize this, and you want to go to Control Panel. You can do that just by typing it in the search run bar, and then Programs and Features. And then turn features on or off. And here on the professional versions of Windows 10 and Windows 11, you have the option to turn on Hyper-V. On the home versions, this will not be there. And we do want the Hyper-V management tools and the Hyper-V platform. So we're going to hit OK, and this is going to require a restart. This can take a little while because it's expanding a pretty significant feature to the operating system. Alright, so it's completed and Windows needs to reboot. We're going to restart now. So now we can type in the search run bar Hyper-V. And we now have the ability to build virtual machines on this computer. Now the name of my computer here is Laptop. That's the computer name. Any virtual machines that we build are going to be under Laptop. This is essentially a virtualization server. We're just going to right click it, go to New, Virtual Machine, and we want to customize the values. So we're going to do Next. We're going to name this Ubuntu 25.10. And I actually like to create my own separate Hyper-V folder at the root of my C drive, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So I'm going to go to this PC, local disk C, and at the root of my C drive, can see C:\\. I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it Hyper-V. Then I'm going to go back to the wizard, and I'm going to specify that folder. Make this a little bigger here. Hyper-V. Select that folder. Hit Next. And the reason for this is that it just makes it really easy to manage your virtual machine files and your virtual hard disks. And we need to do a Generation 2 UEFI based firmware Now this is where we're allocating RAM. I only have 8 gigabytes of RAM on this particular computer that I'm using, so I'm using the absolute bare minimum, and we need at least 4 gigabytes of RAM for Ubuntu 2510. So I'm going to pull up the calculator, and 1024 megabytes is 1 gigabyte, and we need 4 gigabytes. So I'm going to do times 4, and that's going to be 4096, and that is how much RAM we want on this. We're going to use dynamic memory for this virtual machine. What that means is that this is the maximum amount of RAM that the virtual machine can use. But if it doesn't need that much, it will use less. We're going to hit next, and then we're just going to do a default switch. A default switch means that your virtual machine is going to have a network connection through your existing network adapter, so it will have internet access. We're going to hit next, and here's where we're going to create our virtual hard disk. Our location is C hyperv, that's the folder we created, and then the virtual machine, and then the virtual hard disk is inside the virtual machine folder. And on this one, we can just do probably 30 gigabytes would be fine on this. I'm going to verify how much space I have on this disk right now. I have 102 gigabytes free, so that's fine. So yeah, 30 should be fine for a test machine. Obviously you're going to want more space if you're going to be doing actual work on it. So we're going to hit next, and then we're going to choose the option to install an operating system right now, and this is where we're going to go to our downloads folder, and we're going to get the ISO file. That's the ISO file that we downloaded from the Ubuntu website. We're going to select that, hit open, next, and this is a summary of what we're doing. So this is the name of our virtual machine. It's a generation 2, which means it uses VHDX files and supports UEFI boot mode. We have 4 gigabytes of RAM that we're allocating to it with dynamic memory. We're using the default switch, and this is the location of where the virtual machine files and the virtual hard disk will be. And we're specifying the ISO that we're going to use to install the operating system. So now we're going to go finish. And this is our virtual machine. And before we start it up, we need to turn off secure boot. Hit apply. So we've disabled secure boot, and then we want to make one other change to this before we start it up. We want to go into processor. This is a quad-core processor with hyper-threading, so it shows up as essentially 8 cores that are available. We're going to allocate 3 of those to this virtual machine. And the reason we're going to do that is because if we only allocate 1, it's going to be super slow. That is 37% of our total available hardware processor on this. We're going to hit apply. Okay. And now we should be ready to start this thing up. Double click it to get a view on it, and we're going to go try or install Ubuntu. Hit enter. Now Hyper-V is reading that ISO file for the operating system installation. This can take a while. Alright, now we're going to choose our language. For me, that is English. We're going to do the default settings for this. Next. And keyboard layout, English. Next. So it sees right now that I'm on a wired connection, and we're going to say, yeah, let's use that. And we could do the try Ubuntu option. And this is actually what's called Ubuntu Live, which means you don't actually install it. You just run it off of the ISO, or usually you do this with a USB bootable drive, and I have a video on my channel that shows you how to do that, by the way. But in this case, we're actually building a virtual machine, and we want to actually install Ubuntu onto the virtual hard drive. So we're going to say install, and we'll do interactive installation and the default selection of apps. That sounds good. Install recommended proprietary software. I'm going to say no to this because we're already using the software and hardware on the host operating system, which is this Windows operating system. So I'm going to say no. But if you were installing Ubuntu and it wasn't on a virtual machine, you'd probably want to check this. I would probably check both of those if I was installing this directly onto my hardware and not onto a virtual machine. So since it's a virtual machine, I'm going to say no. We'll keep it simple for now. Erase disk and install Ubuntu. Again, this is a virtual hard drive, so it's not actually going to erase our system disk. It's just going to install it onto the section of disk, that 30 gigabytes that we dedicated as a virtual hard disk. It's going to install Ubuntu onto that. So we're going to say yes. Right now, we're not going to do encryption. But if you were doing anything with business associated with this, I would encrypt it with a passphrase. I'm going to name Frank, and I'm going to do Ubuntu 25.10 VM. And we can't have spaces, so we'll do that. I'm going to enter a random password here. Require my password to log in. Yes. We're not going to use Active Directory now. Yes, that is my time zone. Looks good. And here's a review of the choices. And we're ready to install. This can take a while. Just be patient. So the operating system is installed on the virtual hard disk, and we're going to do a restart. And just to be clear, this is a restart of the virtual machine. As you can see, the host operating system, which is Windows 11, was not restarted. We're just restarting the virtual machine here. Okay, please remove the installation medium, then press enter. We're going to do this. Eject. This DVD drive, this is a virtual DVD drive that's reading the ISO that has the Ubuntu 25.10 operating system on it. We're going to eject. We'll see if it's going to load. There it goes. Let's log in. Alright, here we are. Since I'm doing this for demonstration purposes, I don't want to share data, but it is nice if you share data with developers if you're going to be using it on a regular basis so they can improve the system. I'm going to say next, and right now I don't want any more applications, but yeah, here we are. We are at the Ubuntu desktop. We can go to our file system. So if I go down to apps and do terminal and say I want to run the ifconfig command, which will show us our basic network information. It looks like it's not installed, but we can install NetTools with this command. Sudo apt install net-tools and enter our system password, I believe. Cool. We're downloading that package and installing it. It looks like there it is. So that's just an example of a simple command. This is not a Linux tutorial, and I do not know Linux well, but I want to show you a couple more things in Hyper-V. So I'm going to shut this down, and we can just do the shutdown command here. It's going to shut down in a minute. And I didn't bother to just look up the command for the immediate shutdown, but it's sudo space shutdown space now. So that's shut down, and we can close this window. Hyper-V is the hypervisor. The laptop is the hypervisor server. And this virtual machine is on the hypervisor server, which is the name of this actual computer. My Windows computer name is laptop. So that's why we're seeing this here. That's the computer name. When we right click on this, we have options for settings, connect. Connect is the same as double clicking. That's what opens this window. To actually get a graphical user interface, we can go into settings. We can modify these things now. We could add more processors. We could change our network options. We could add virtual hard drives. We could change the security. We can do a bunch of things here. Anyway, you can play around with that stuff and learn more about it. But I just wanted to show you that you have options within Hyper-V. And if we close out of this, say we just exit Hyper-V completely, we can take a look at where those files are that we created in Hyper-V, the virtual machine files. We can go to this PC, local disk, and Hyper-V, and there's our virtual machine. There is our virtual machine files. Those are our virtual hard disks. Those are our snapshots. And if we want to start up the virtual machine again, just type in Hyper-V. We could also pin this to the taskbar right here. If you want to start it back up, double click it, hit start. And do you want to revert to the previous checkpoint? No, I just want to start it up again. Can log in again. And here we are, up and running again. So the last thing I'm going to show you is how to undo all this. Say you've done some testing or you've played around with Hyper-V. It's really easy to undo all this, and that's one of the beautiful things about virtual machines, is that you can build these things really fast. You can play around with them. If you screw up the operating system, it doesn't matter. You can go in and do whatever you want, and you're not damaging your host operating system. You're not doing anything on the actual host operating system. You're doing it all in the virtual machine. That makes them really useful for testing and playing around with, and also for production environments if you're more advanced or you're in a business environment. But I'll show you how to undo all this. First thing we'll do is disconnect from the virtual machine, and then we'll just go shut down. Now it's off. We can just delete the virtual machine entirely. Delete. And close this. We can go to our virtual machine files. This PC, C, Hyper-V. All those, right? Say we just don't want any of this anymore. Delete. Alright, that's gone. Empty the recycle bin. Yes. Close that. Now we have all that space back on our disk, and then we could go back to control panel, programs and features, turn Windows features on or off, uncheck Hyper-V, hit OK, and it needs another restart to do that. After you restart, it's like it never happened. You have all your space back. Hyper-V isn't installed anymore. The virtual machines are gone. Ubuntu's gone. Everything's gone. And that's how easy it is to build and destroy these. So that's it for this video. If you found it helpful, please hit like and subscribe. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section. I do try to answer them. And please check out some of my other videos, and make sure to keep an eye on this series, because I'm going to be living outdoors in the desert in a couple months. Bye for now.